Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing a really important video. It's a video on why so many people are actually leaving the Western country, Australia, and moving to other countries, especially East Asia, where life is so much cheaper and enjoyable, and people are actually more connected in those countries. So, have you actually ever looked around at the country you grew up and thought, this isn't the place I remember Australia? Like something shifted really quietly, slowly, and one day you woke up and the Australia you knew just wasn't there anymore. Australia is one of the most beautiful countries on earth, and right now, Australians are actually leaving in record numbers. Not because they stopped loving it, but because they can no longer afford to live in it. I want to talk about something that a lot of Australians feel, but nobody is saying it out loud. This country has actually changed, and I mean deeply, and not in the way the government is actually telling you. 5 years ago, Australia had a reputation the world envied. The lucky country. High wages, beautiful weather, a culture that said, she'll be right. Meaning, figure it out. No stress, but here's what nobody is actually telling you. That version of Australia, the one with genuine freedom, affordability with housing, and a government that trusted its citizens to make their own decisions. That version is fading. And the data doesn't lie. Between 2020 and 2025, that's actually just 5 years, something quietly unraveled. A series of decisions made by state and federal governments began to stack up. Each one alone sounded reasonable. Together, they've created a country that many Australians no longer recognize. So let's actually talk about it. The housing crisis, the laws, the cultural shift, and why many people, including lifelong Australians, are packing their bags and leaving. Let me tell you something real. The average Australian home has now crossed $1 million for the first time in history, not in the harbourside suburbs of Sydney, on average across the country. The median dwelling value in Australia is 860,000, and that is 8.9 times the annual income. Let that sink in for a moment. 8.9 times the average income. Almost 9 years of salary before tax to buy a home. Rents actually risen by 48% in the last 10 years. Not 5%, not 10%, 48%. So you have a generation of Australians, hardworking, educated, doing everything right, who are being priced out of the country they were born in. They cannot buy, they can barely rent. And the government solution? More committees, more reports, more waiting. But here's what nobody is talking about. It's not just the money, it's what the housing crisis signals. It signals that the social contract, the idea that if you work hard in Australia, you'll be okay, that's actually broken, quietly broken. And when a society breaks that promise, people start asking a question that was once unthinkable. Why am I still here? Now, I want to be careful here because I'm not someone who dismisses all government regulation. Governments exist to protect people. That's legitimate. But there's a difference between protection and control. And Australia has been sliding towards control. In December 2024, Australia became the first country in the world to ban under 16 social media. Now, I understand the intention, but the way it's being enforced requires social media platforms to verify the age of every single Australian user. Every single one. That's not protection. That's surveillance infrastructure. Now there's what the Center for Independent Study calls the Nanny State Awards, their annual list of Australia's most absurd regulations. In 2025, the winners included South Australia banning fish-shaped soy sauce containers from Japanese restaurants, Victoria introducing laws to control where fast food outlets can be built, because apparently the government now decides what you can eat and where you can eat it. And the overall winner, the Victorian government spending 13 million on machete disposal bins across the state. $13 million on bins for machetes. But here's what nobody has told you. These laws are not the problem in isolation. The problem is what they reveal about government's relationship with its citizens. It's a government that has stopped trusting the people it serves. And when trust goes one way, when the state watches, regulates, and restricts while expecting compliance, something breaks inside a society. People stop feeling like citizens. They start feeling like subjects. There's something else happening, something you won't find in the data, but you'll feel if you've lived here long enough. Australia has always had what we call tall poppy syndrome. If you grow too tall, if you succeed too visibly, dream too loud, or stand out too much, there are people around you who will cut you down. Not celebrate, not ask what you did, just cut. That cultural trait, which was always there quietly, has been amplified by the last 5 years. Social pressure, lockdowns that lasted longer than almost anywhere else on the world, a punitive public discourse where difference of opinion became a moral failing. And here's the result. Australia went from being one of the most laid-back cultures in the world to, as one Reddit Red recently put it, the hallway monitor of countries, conformists, cautious, and watching. One person said, "It is this way. I love this country, but the people are turning into something else. The government is disappointing." It's safe and beautiful, but it's becoming an unpleasant place to live. That's not someone who hates Australia. That's someone who grieves what it's becoming. Before I continue, if this is speaking to something you've been feeling but couldn't name, I want you to stay with me, because the most important part of this conversation isn't the statistics, it's what we actually do with the reality we're living in. And I'll get to that in a moment. If this video is adding to a conversation you think more Australians need to have, please share it. It genuinely helps. Now let's talk about the people you've made a decision. Now let's talk about the people who've actually made a decision. Here's what the numbers show. Net overseas migration to Australia fell by nearly 30% in 1 year, from 429,000 people in 2023 to 2024 to 306,000 in 24 to 25. And within those numbers, something striking. Australia recorded a net loss of Australian-born citizens. More are leaving than arriving. Who's leaving? Doctors, engineers, young families, educated professionals in their 30s and 40s who looked at a 1 million price tag on a house, looked at their salary, looked at the regulations piling up and said, there has to be a better option. Where are they going now? Dubai, London, Southeast Asia, countries that are cutting red tape, offering tax incentives, and trusting their citizens with financial freedom. And this is what truly matters, not just economically, but culturally, because the people who leave first are usually the ones with the most options. The skills, the skilled people, the entrepreneurial people, the ones a country actually needs to build its future. A brain doesn't happen overnight. It starts with one person making a spreadsheet on a Sunday afternoon, comparing the cost of life in Melbourne to the cost of life in East Asia, and realizing the numbers simply don't add up anymore. And it compounds quietly until one day an entire generation is completely gone. Now, I want to talk to you directly for a moment because I know that some of you watching this are frustrated, maybe even angry. You love this country, you want it to be what it once was or what it promised to be. And the gap between that promise and this reality is genuinely painful. But here's what I've learned, both as someone who lives here and as a life coach: you cannot outsource your well being to a government. Not this one, not anyone. The biggest trap we fall into as citizens, as a human being, is waiting for the external environment to give us permission to live fully. We wait for the housing market to change. We wait for the laws to shift. We wait for the culture to become kinder. And while we wait, life passes. The real question isn't, what is Australia doing to me? The real question is, what am I going to do with the life I have right now in these conditions? For some people, that answer is actually leaving. And that is a valid, courageous choice. Not an act of giving up, but an act of claiming your own life. For others, it means staying, but staying intentionally, investing in community, building something, choosing connection over compliance. Either way, the most important thing you can do is this: make a conscious choice, not a passive one. Because a country is not just its government, it's not just its housing prices or its regulation. A country is its people, and the people who choose to stay and choose to fight for what Australia can still be, that is what matters. I'm Yusuf. If this spoke to something you've been carrying, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations like this, and leave a comment below. Are you staying or are you leaving? And tell me why. I actually read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.